On my way to the cafe, I cut through neighborhood streets. The scenery quickly changes from tall, old-fashioned pastel-colored houses to small, unkempt houses surrounded by metal fences and weeds as high as my knees. The colorful houses all look the same, while the distressed yards and the decaying houses leave something to be discovered. When I look past the weeds, I see a man in a ball cap sitting on his porch, seemingly staring at nothing. I wonder what he's thinking about. I keep driving and notice a girl sitting on the sidewalk, wearing jean shorts over purple tights. The black backpack she's carrying is halfway open, and a box of frosted mini-wheats peeks out. I wonder what she's up to. I brake to let an old couple cross the road. I have a stop sign, but I would have stopped anyway to study them. They're both skinny, wearing sun hats and sunglasses. Hers are too big for her face. They both look at me and motion an effortless wave. They expected me to stop for them. They're carrying lawn chairs and walking casually. I wonder where they're headed. In front of me, a boy is riding his bike on the street, swerving from one lane to another. He's riding slowly in front of me, so I honk my horn slightly, just to let him know I'm there. He doesn't speed up or turn around to acknowledge me. He swerves slowly in front of me one more time and then turns down Walnut Street. The cafe is on Walnut Street. 1 block away, I see a corner store called Jaya's Crab Shack. The purple Cadillac parked in front of the store demands that I see it. There's a woman outside smoking a cigarette, looking down at a man who's sitting next to her on the ground. Like everyone else in this town, they look like they have nowhere to be. I wonder what they're talking about. I finally pull up to 3 Layers Cafe, park my car, and walk inside. The cafe doesn't match its destitute surroundings. To me, it looks like any other cafe. Never has a place been more at odds or incongruous with its surroundings. Never more seemingly culturally unnecessary and commercially unsupportable. 3 Layers, a hip and hygienic bar and coffee shop, is located in the center of a crumbling black ghetto in Springfield, Jacksonville. A hipster coffee shop in a black ghetto where overpriced and unpronounceable espressos are served to a community plagued by incessant crime and widespread pennilessness. Who in God's name patronizes this strange and alien place, I wonder, while walking up to its self-consciously stylized entranceway, a giant humanoid turtle effigy to my left, a singing, automated skeleton, erected in deference to the spooky season to my right. On entering, I find myself again confronted with the same confusion of color schemes, objects, art pieces that was so apparent on the outside. I sit on a leather couch, which clashes with the rest of the place, it being mildly rustic and homey in parts. Behind me, on a little table of sorts, are stacked old board games, which nobody seems to bother with. In front of me is another stack, but of magazines, and in front of this is a rather large flat-screen TV, which has been turned off, and which sits there sadly blank, it seems to me, moping from inattention. I overhear a customer questioning the barista about the foundation of the cafe. The customer is an older man, bald and fat. He's extremely interested in the architecture of the place, and why the ceilings look as if they might cave in at any moment. I had wondered the same thing. The barista is not entertaining the thought whatsoever. He doesn't seem to want to talk to the man about it at all, and only gives him short answers and tries to act like he's too busy to talk. A woman brings me my small vanilla latte, interrupting my eavesdropping. Soups simmer on a house stove as my waitress grabs a maroon cup from a cabinet above her. Dim lighting nestles into every brick's crack and highlights the walls. The leather chair and couches are worn. Some have holes. This place is tired, relaxed, content. I am served by a slender black girl with a charming accent and manner. She is a frail and prematurely aged thing, with a leisurely work style and a great deal of existential stress in her dark and tired face. She is affectionately attentive and smiles quite beautifully after I thank her. As for the coffee, it was served in a large plain mug, which was bright red and undecorated and warm from the fresh coffee. I managed to catch the barista telling the old man that the foundation is quite older than 3 Layers itself. The building existed along with the historic churches and trees that have lined the streets of downtown Jacksonville for centuries. Looking up at the ceiling, I notice its age. I'm surprised it isn't caving in on me right now. It is weathered, broken, and it looks like someone took it upon themselves to shove pieces of plywood into its crevices to hold it all in place. She wears the dress every day, from sunup to sundown. Her feet dangle in the corners of pictures, of my picture, like a ghost. The small, natural fibers twist in and out of the woven fabric like the coarse exo-hair of an old coconut shell, only smaller, much finer. They are organized into quadrants of tight lattice work, like your grandmother's apple pie, like the plated layers of the city and of this cafe. The individual strands hold the same blue dye differently so that, in the right distance, they either appear identical or unique. The individual threads work together to create a unified experience, much like her home, 3 layers, where she has remained and will remain for years. Her features will never age. Her skin will remain void of time and of emotion. As she exists with her dress collecting dust, she will collect memories and live in them as she lives in mine. Everywhere has a place like 3 layers, and everyone knows it as their own. It may not be the prettiest or most well put together, but it has substance and life grows in its cracks. This tiny cafe means so much more because it is in the middle of an old, rich area. Each street stretches with history. It may not be the part of town a city is most proud of, but the city would be starved without it. No one has return flight dates. No one has a set amount of time to see a whole city. No one is even checking their watch. The day is new. Each second is worth breathing in, one deep breath at a time. I walk into 3 layers, and it's a home. It is calm amidst so much else. Springfield or Jacksonville or Florida. No matter how large an area, you can find comfort in the people around you because these people find reasons to make the same places as you important.